Have you ever wished you could look beyond someone's words and see who they truly are? People often wear masks, intentionally or not, that hide their authentic selves. But here's the good news. Their actions, especially in unguarded moments, can speak louder than their words ever could. By paying attention to specific behaviors, you can uncover the essence of someone's character, their true colors. In this episode, we're diving deep into 10 signs that reveal someone's authentic self. These aren't just arbitrary observations, they're grounded in timeless wisdom and the patterns that have defined human behavior for centuries. Whether it's how someone treats others, handles criticism, or responds to success, these signs can help you see beyond the surface and truly understand the people around you. So, get ready to sharpen your insights and strengthen your relationships by recognizing these key indicators of character. Let's explore how to instantly see someone's true colors just by watching for these 10 powerful signs. 1. The truth in solitude. How they act when nobody's watching. A person's true nature often reveals itself in the quiet moments when no one else is around. Without the pressure of an audience or the need to impress, their actions reflect their most authentic self. It's in these moments of solitude that integrity, or the lack of it, becomes crystal clear. Imagine someone who meticulously picks up litter when no one's around, versus someone who only behaves responsibly when they're being watched. The difference between these two individuals isn't about what they do, it's about why they do it. Genuine character doesn't need validation. It operates on principle, not on the need for approval. Think about the small, seemingly insignificant actions: returning a shopping cart to its place, following through on a task even when no one will notice, or resisting the temptation to take shortcuts. These behaviors aren't about proving something to others. They're about staying true to one's values. The philosopher Plato once suggested that the ultimate test of morality is what a person would do with the power of invisibility. Would they use it for selfish gain, or would they continue to act with fairness and honor? This timeless question reminds us that integrity isn't about what we do when others are watching. It's about the consistency of our values, even in private. Consider this real-world scenario. A colleague promises to stay late and finish a shared task, but slacks off as soon as the boss leaves. On the surface, they may appear dependable, but their actions behind closed doors reveal a lack of commitment and honesty. Contrast this with someone who goes above and beyond, even when they could easily cut corners. It's the latter who embodies true integrity. To truly understand someone's character, watch how they behave when there's no incentive to perform, no accolades to earn, and no one to impress. These private moments are the mirror of their authenticity. If you're reflecting on your own life, ask yourself, do my actions in solitude align with the values I claim to hold? Integrity begins with self-awareness. By striving for consistency in your private and public life, you not only build trust with others, but also strengthen your own sense of self-respect. The next time you want to uncover someone's true colors, don't just listen to their words or watch their public persona. Pay attention to what they do in those unguarded moments, because that's where the truth lives. Second, kindness without conditions. How they treat people who can't do anything for them. The way someone treats individuals who hold no power or influence over their lives is one of the clearest indicators of their true character. It's easy to be kind, respectful, or accommodating to those who can offer something in return, a favor, an opportunity, or validation. But how someone behaves toward those who can't benefit them reveals whether their kindness is genuine or transactional. Think about everyday situations. How someone speaks to a waiter at a restaurant, interacts with a janitor, or responds to a stranger in need. These moments might seem insignificant, but they're profound windows into a person's core values. A kind word or a respectful interaction costs nothing, yet it speaks volumes about someone's humanity. Imagine standing in line at a coffee shop. The customer ahead of you is polite and friendly to the cashier, engaging in conversation and expressing gratitude. Now imagine another scenario where a customer snaps at the same cashier for a minor mistake, acting as though the person behind the counter doesn't deserve basic courtesy. Both interactions leave a lasting impression, not just on the cashier, but also on anyone observing. One reflects a grounded sense of respect for others, while the other exposes entitlement and disregard. The Stoics emphasized treating all people with dignity, regardless of their status or role. Epictetus taught, "What is your vocation? To be a good person." This reminder underscores that our actions toward others, especially those who can't offer anything in return, define us far more than our words or accomplishments ever could. Now consider this in the context of relationships. How does someone treat their peers, their subordinates, or those who serve them in some capacity? Someone who values equality and respect will show the same level of consideration to a CEO as they would to a server at a restaurant. It's not about hierarchy, it's about recognizing the inherent worth of every individual. On the flip side, there's a red flag in observing someone who acts dismissively, impatiently, or even cruelly to those they perceive as beneath them. This behavior isn't just a reflection of their attitude toward others. It's an insight into their lack of empathy and humility. If someone disregards the humanity of another person simply because they can, it raises questions about how they might treat others when the circumstances change. Here's a real-world example. A co-worker who goes out of their way to acknowledge and thank the cleaning staff in the office versus someone who barely notices their presence. These small actions, or the absence of them, speak volumes. One individual demonstrates an understanding that respect isn't earned through status, but given freely as a reflection of their character. The other reveals a lack of awareness and gratitude. If you're evaluating your own life, ask yourself, do I treat people with the same respect, regardless of what they can do for me? True kindness isn't selective. It's a principle that applies to everyone. By striving to show appreciation and respect in all interactions, you not only build stronger connections, but also create a ripple effect of positivity. The next time you want to gauge someone's true colors, observe their interactions with people who have no power to influence their life. Do they offer kindness freely, or do they only extend it when there's something to gain? In these seemingly small, everyday moments, you'll find the clearest reflection of who they truly are. Genuine kindness doesn't come with strings. It's an inherent trait that reveals a person's capacity for empathy, humility, and humanity. 3. The test of power. How they handle authority and influence. Power has a way of amplifying a person's true character. When someone holds authority, whether it's a position at work, influence in a social group, or even being the leader in a small setting, their behavior reveals much about who they are. Do they use their power to uplift and support others, or do they let it inflate their ego, manipulate, or harm? How someone handles authority is one of the clearest windows into their authentic self. Think of power as a magnifying glass. It doesn't create character, but it does make what's already there more visible. A person who is inherently kind and grounded will use their authority to inspire and encourage. Meanwhile, someone driven by insecurity or arrogance might wield their power in ways that exploit or control others. Imagine a manager at work. One uses their position to mentor their team, offering guidance and recognizing their contributions. This leader fosters trust and collaboration, showing humility despite their authority. Contrast this with another manager who belittles their employees, takes credit for their successes, or uses intimidation to maintain control. Both hold the same position, but their approach reveals drastically different characters. The Stoics had a lot to say about power and how it should be used. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most powerful leaders, consistently reminded himself to stay humble. In his Meditations, he wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone." For Marcus, power wasn't about exerting control over others. It was about mastering himself and leading with integrity. Power can also reveal whether someone prioritizes themselves or others. Do they seek personal gain at the expense of those around them, or do they use their position to serve the greater good? True leadership isn't about dominance, it's about responsibility. Someone who sees power as an opportunity to empower others demonstrates humility and selflessness. On the other hand, someone who abuses power for personal benefit exposes their insecurity and lack of moral grounding. Consider everyday examples. A teacher who uses their position to inspire and encourage students versus one who humiliates or punishes them unnecessarily. A community leader who listens and collaborates versus one who enforces decisions without regard for the people they represent. These scenarios highlight how power can either bring out the best or the worst in someone. If you're reflecting on your own relationship with authority, ask yourself, when I have influence or control, do I use it to uplift others or to elevate myself? The way you answer this question reveals your values and priorities. True leadership lies in service, not self-interest. It's also worth noting that the way someone handles small instances of power often predicts how they'll act in larger roles. For example, someone who insists on having the last word in minor arguments might struggle with humility in greater positions of authority. Similarly, someone who takes credit for group efforts in small settings might behave similarly when leading larger projects. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you observe someone in a position of power, watch how they interact with those who are below them in status or authority. Are they respectful, patient, and supportive? Or do they dismiss, belittle, or exploit? Their behavior will reveal more about their character than any title or accomplishment ever could. Power doesn't corrupt, it amplifies. Someone who is grounded and self-aware will remain so when given authority. Conversely, someone who is insecure or self-serving will let that show when power removes the filters. As you evaluate the people around you, remember, how they handle power shows what kind of person they truly are. True colors shine brightest when someone is given the choice to lift others or only themselves. 4. Patience in the small things. How they handle minor annoyances. True character isn't just revealed in moments of grandeur or crisis. It often shines through in the small, everyday frustrations. How someone reacts to minor inconveniences, like a long line at the grocery store, a traffic jam, or a misplaced item, speaks volumes about their emotional maturity and self-control. These little moments act as micro-tests of patience, giving you a clear glimpse into how someone manages stress and challenges. Imagine being stuck in traffic. One person remains calm, maybe turns on some music or reflects on their day, understanding that the situation is beyond their control. Another driver leans on the horn, mutters angrily, and lets their frustration boil over. The event itself is the same for both individuals, but their reactions reveal stark differences in temperament. The Stoics believed that patience was a sign of strength, not weakness. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Small annoyances are inevitable, but how we respond to them is a choice. The ability to stay calm in these moments reflects emotional resilience and an understanding of what truly deserves our energy. Minor annoyances often act as mirrors for larger patterns of behavior. Someone who snaps at a cashier for being slow might also struggle with anger or impatience in more significant situations. Conversely, a person who can laugh off a spilled drink or a forgotten appointment likely approaches life with flexibility and grace. It's not the inconvenience itself that defines character, it's the response. Let's consider a relatable example. Imagine a coworker who encounters a technical glitch during a presentation. Instead of panicking or blaming others, they take a breath, calmly address the issue, and move forward. This reaction not only reflects their self-control, but also fosters a positive environment for everyone involved. Their composure is a sign of someone who values solutions over emotional outbursts. On the flip side, someone who lets small annoyances spiral into disproportionate reactions might struggle to maintain balance in more challenging situations. A friend who becomes visibly irritated over a delayed meal at a restaurant may find it hard to cope with larger, uncontrollable events in life. Observing how they handle these small moments provides a clear lens into their overall emotional intelligence. Here's a practical exercise for yourself. The next time you encounter a minor inconvenience, pause and ask, "Does this deserve my energy? Will this matter an hour from now?" By choosing calm over frustration, you train your mind to focus on what truly matters and build resilience for bigger challenges. When evaluating others, pay attention to their small, everyday reactions. Do they show understanding when the barista gets their order wrong, or do they complain loudly? Are they patient when waiting in line, or do they huff and roll their eyes? These behaviors might seem insignificant, but they reveal how someone manages their emotions and interacts with the world. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of perspective. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom reminds us that the world will always present small irritations, but our reactions are within our control. Someone who remains calm in the face of these moments demonstrates true inner strength. Think of patience like a muscle. Each time you choose to respond calmly to a small annoyance, you strengthen your ability to handle bigger challenges. Similarly, observing how others manage these moments gives you insight into their capacity for resilience, empathy, and self-control. As you assess someone's true colors, pay close attention to how they handle the minor inconveniences of life. Do they snap and let frustration take over, or do they pause, adapt, and move on with grace? These small moments are often the truest reflection of character, showing whether someone's patience is grounded in strength or easily unraveled by the little things. 5. The measure of growth. How they respond to criticism. Criticism is an inevitable part of life, Whether it's feedback at work, advice from a friend, or even a casual comment, how someone responds to criticism reveals their openness, emotional maturity, and willingness to grow. It's in these moments of discomfort that true character shines through. Do they react defensively, shut down, or embrace the opportunity to learn and improve? Imagine giving constructive feedback to a coworker. One person listens thoughtfully, asks clarifying questions, and thanks you for your perspective, even if it stings a little. Another responds with hostility, denies any wrongdoing, or shifts the blame onto others. Both may have the same skills or abilities, but their reactions to feedback show the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed one. The Stoics believed that humility and self-awareness were essential for personal growth. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. The harm is to persist in one's self-deception and ignorance." This mindset reflects a commitment to growth over ego, a principle that distinguishes those who truly value self-improvement. Criticism is often uncomfortable because it forces us to confront areas where we fall short. But those who embrace it as a tool for betterment demonstrate resilience and confidence. They understand that feedback isn't an attack, it's an opportunity. On the other hand, those who react defensively or dismissively often let their fear of failure or rejection overshadow their ability to grow. Consider a real-world example. Imagine an artist receiving feedback on their work. The first artist acknowledges the critique, reflects on it, and uses it to refine their craft. The second artist becomes defensive, insisting that their work doesn't need improvement. Over time, the first artist continues to grow and evolve, while the second remains stagnant. This difference stems not from talent, but from attitude. Here's another perspective. How someone responds to criticism often reflects their ability to manage emotions. A defensive reaction may stem from insecurity or fear of judgment, while an open response shows emotional intelligence and self-assurance. Observing how someone handles feedback provides a clear window into their personal development and inner strength. If you're reflecting on your own behavior, ask yourself, how do I react when someone offers me constructive criticism? Do I listen and learn, or do I resist and justify? Cultivating a habit of welcoming feedback, even when it's uncomfortable, strengthens your ability to grow and adapt. To better understand someone's character, observe their response to feedback in different settings. Do they listen attentively during a performance review at work, or do they become defensive? When a friend offers advice, do they express gratitude or dismiss it outright? These small moments reveal how they approach growth and self-awareness. The Stoics also remind us to separate the message from the messenger. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This wisdom encourages us to focus on the value of the feedback rather than the way it's delivered. Even poorly phrased criticism can hold a valuable lesson for those willing to hear it. Here's a practical exercise. The next time someone offers you feedback, pause before reacting. Take a deep breath, thank them for their perspective, and reflect on their words. Even if the critique feels unfair, ask yourself, is there a kernel of truth here that I can use to grow? This practice not only improves your ability to handle criticism, but also sets a positive example for others. Think of criticism as a mirror. It might not always reflect what you want to see, but it helps you identify areas for improvement. Observing how someone reacts to this mirror tells you whether they value growth or cling to their comfort zone. As you assess someone's true colors, watch how they respond to criticism. Do they welcome it with humility and openness, or do they reject it out of fear or pride? Their reaction speaks volumes about their character, their willingness to learn, and their capacity for personal evolution. 6. Conflict as a canvas. How they handle disagreements. Disagreements are a natural part of any relationship, whether it's with friends, family, co-workers, or strangers. How someone navigates these moments of conflict reveals a great deal about their emotional intelligence, communication skills, and respect for others. Do they remain calm and seek resolution, or do they resort to personal attacks and escalate the tension? Their approach to disagreements paints a vivid picture of their character. The Stoics believed in responding to conflict with wisdom and self-control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are offended at someone's fault, turn to yourself and reflect on your own failings. This will keep your anger down and show you the path forward." This philosophy teaches us that disagreements don't have to become battles. They can be opportunities for growth, understanding, and mutual respect. Consider a common scenario. Two colleagues have differing opinions on how to approach a project. One calmly explains their perspective, listens to the other's point of view, and collaborates to find a solution. The other interrupts, dismisses ideas, or becomes defensive. These contrasting behaviors highlight the difference between someone who values constructive dialogue and someone who lets ego dominate their interactions. How someone handles disagreements often reveals their priorities. A person who seeks to win an argument at all costs may prioritize their pride over the relationship. In contrast, someone who aims for mutual understanding values the connection and respects the other person's perspective, even if they disagree. Conflict resolution also reflects emotional maturity. Imagine a disagreement with a friend about plans that fell through. A mature individual might say, "I understand why you're upset, and I'm sorry for the miscommunication. Let's figure out how to avoid this in the future." This response shows accountability, empathy, and a desire to maintain the friendship. On the other hand, someone who reacts with blame or indifference exposes a lack of emotional depth and care. To observe someone's true colors, watch how they handle disagreements in various situations. Do they listen actively, seeking to understand the other person's perspective? Or do they dominate the conversation, shutting down opposing views? Their ability to engage respectfully in conflict is a clear indicator of their character. Let's take a practical example. A family member disagrees with you about a financial decision. One response might be an open, respectful conversation where both sides share their concerns and reach a compromise. Another response might be shouting, accusations, or refusing to engage. The former approach builds trust and resolution, while the latter tears it down. If you're reflecting on your own behavior, ask yourself, do I approach disagreements with the goal of understanding or the goal of winning? Striving for resolution over dominance fosters healthier relationships and demonstrates self-awareness. The Stoics also emphasized controlling your emotions during conflict. Epictetus said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." This practice of self-reflection helps you respond to disagreements with calmness and clarity instead of letting emotions cloud your judgment. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you're in a disagreement, try this three-step approach. 1. Pause. Take a deep breath and resist the urge to react impulsively. 2. Listen. Give the other person space to express their perspective without interrupting. 3. Respond. Share your thoughts calmly and focus on finding common ground. By practicing these steps, you not only resolve conflicts more effectively, but also model respectful communication for others. Think of disagreements like storms. They can either cause destruction or bring clarity, depending on how you weather them. Observing how someone handles these moments reveals their ability to navigate challenges with grace, respect, and emotional intelligence. As you assess someone's true colors, pay attention to how they approach conflict. Do they seek understanding and resolution, or do they escalate and dominate? Their behavior in these moments is a reflection of their inner values and their capacity to maintain harmony in relationships. 7. Grace in the spotlight. How they react to success and praise. Success and praise are powerful moments. They can bring out the best or the worst in someone. How a person handles recognition and achievement reveals their humility, gratitude, and perspective. Do they remain grounded and gracious, or do they let success inflate their ego? Observing their behavior in these moments can tell you a great deal about their true character. When someone achieves a milestone, whether it's a promotion, public recognition, or personal accomplishment, it's natural to feel proud. But pride can take two forms, one rooted in gratitude and self-awareness, and the other driven by arrogance and superiority. True humility is reflected in the ability to accept praise without letting it overshadow one's values or relationships. Consider someone who has just been recognized at work for their contributions. A humble individual might say, "Thank you. I couldn't have done it without the support of my team." This response shows gratitude and acknowledges the collective effort. On the other hand, someone who boasts excessively or diminishes others' contributions reveals a self-centered mindset. The Stoics taught that external success should never define your worth. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Receive wealth or prosperity without arrogance, and be ready to let it go." This wisdom encourages us to see success as a fleeting moment, not a measure of our value. It's how we respond to success, not the success itself, that defines us. Let's take another example. Imagine a friend wins an award for a project. One friend celebrates their accomplishment, but continues to support and encourage others. Another becomes dismissive of those around them, acting as though their success elevates them above everyone else. These contrasting behaviors reveal whether someone sees success as a shared experience or a pedestal to stand on. How someone reacts to praise also reflects their emotional maturity. A person who craves validation might rely on external recognition to feel worthy, while someone with self-confidence views praise as a bonus rather than a necessity. The latter demonstrates inner security and a focus on personal growth rather than public approval. If you're reflecting on your own behavior, ask yourself, when I receive praise or achieve something, do I stay grounded? Do I acknowledge the support of others and remain connected to my values? Practicing humility and gratitude ensures that success enhances your character rather than inflating your ego. To better understand someone's true colors, watch how they handle moments in the spotlight. Do they share their success with those who help them along the way, or do they use it as an opportunity to boast? Their response to recognition can reveal whether they prioritize connection or self-promotion. The Stoics also remind us to approach success with balance. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This applies to praise as well. Those who chase constant validation often find themselves unfulfilled. A secure individual, on the other hand, values praise but doesn't depend on it. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you achieve something or receive praise, take a moment to reflect on 3 things. 1. The effort you put in to reach that point. 2. The people who supported you along the way. 3. How this moment aligns with your larger values and goals. This practice helps you stay grounded and connected to what truly matters, ensuring that success serves as a stepping stone rather than a distraction. Think of success like a magnifying glass. It amplifies the traits that are already there. Someone who is humble will remain so, even in the face of praise. Someone who is self-centered will let their ego take center stage. Watching how someone handles these moments of recognition provides valuable insight into their authenticity and priorities. As you evaluate someone's true colors, pay attention to how they react to success and praise. Do they remain gracious, humble, and grounded, or do they let the moment inflate their ego? Their behavior in these moments speaks volumes about their ability to balance achievement with integrity and gratitude. 8. Loyalty in the shadows. How they show up for others in tough times. It's easy to stand by someone when everything is going well, but true character is revealed when life gets hard, when someone you care about is struggling, in need, or facing challenges. How a person shows up for others during difficult times speaks volumes about their loyalty, empathy, and capacity for genuine connection. In moments of hardship, actions outweigh words. Promises and declarations of support are meaningless if they're not backed by real effort. Think about the friend who says, "I'm here for you," but disappears when you truly need them. Now contrast that with someone who quietly checks in, offers help without being asked, and stays present even when it's inconvenient. It's in these quiet, unglamorous acts of support that loyalty shines. The Stoics valued service and reliability, especially in relationships. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." This philosophy reminds us that being there for others isn't just about obligation, it's about recognizing our shared humanity and acting with compassion. Let's consider an example. Imagine a colleague who is overwhelmed with deadlines. One co-worker offers genuine assistance, staying late to help complete the project, while another avoids involvement, saying, "Not my problem." The first person demonstrates reliability and teamwork, while the second reveals a self-centered mindset. The way someone supports others in tough times also reflects their values. A person who prioritizes relationships over convenience will show up even when it requires effort or sacrifice. This might look like sitting with a friend in a hospital waiting room, lending a hand during a move, or simply listening without judgment when someone needs to vent. However, loyalty isn't just about grand gestures. It's often found in small, consistent actions. Checking in with someone who's having a hard day, remembering to follow up after they've shared a struggle, or offering a shoulder to lean on during emotional lows are all signs of genuine care. On the other hand, there are red flags to watch for. Someone who only offers support when it's public or performative, posting on social media instead of truly engaging, or who disappears when things get difficult, may lack the depth needed for a strong connection. Their absence in times of need can indicate a lack of empathy or a tendency to prioritize their comfort over their relationships. If you're reflecting on your own life, ask yourself, do I show up for the people I care about when it matters most? Am I reliable even when it's inconvenient? Cultivating loyalty isn't about being perfect. It's about being present and intentional. Here's a practical exercise. Think of someone in your life who might be going through a tough time. Reach out to them with a simple message like, "I've been thinking about you. How are you doing?" This small gesture can make a significant impact, reminding them that they're not alone. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of balance in supporting others. While it's vital to show up for those in need, it's equally important to set boundaries and care for yourself. Epictetus advised, "Be generous, but do not overstrain yourself. Give what you can without neglecting your own well-being." True loyalty includes the wisdom to offer sustainable support. Think of tough times as a filter. They reveal who's truly there for you and who isn't. Those who stand by you in the shadows, without expectation of recognition or reward, are the ones who value you for who you are, not just what you can offer. As you assess someone's true colors, observe how they behave when others are in need. Do they step up with kindness and reliability, or do they shy away from discomfort and inconvenience? Their actions in these moments will show you whether their loyalty runs deep or is merely surface level. True character isn't just about how someone treats you when things are easy. It's about how they show up when the world feels heavy. 9. Compassion beyond words. How they treat animals and nature. A person's attitude toward animals and the environment reveals a profound aspect of their character. These are relationships where power is entirely one-sided. Humans hold control over animals and the natural world. How someone chooses to exercise that power speaks volumes about their compassion, empathy, and sense of responsibility. Treating animals and nature with care isn't about grand gestures or public displays. It's about everyday actions that reflect respect for life and the world we share. Imagine someone who gently rescues a trapped bird or ensures their dog is well cared for, versus someone who disregards the well-being of a stray animal or litters without a second thought. These small behaviors shine a light on whether they value life beyond their immediate interests. The Stoics believed in living harmoniously with nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee." This principle reminds us that we are interconnected with the world around us. How we treat animals and the environment is a reflection of how we view our role in the greater whole. Think about the small choices people make. Someone who recycles, avoids wasting resources, or supports sustainable practices shows an awareness of their impact on the planet. On the other hand, someone who litters, wastes food, or ignores the consequences of their actions on the environment demonstrates a lack of consideration for the world they inhabit. How a person treats animals is another telling indicator. Imagine someone who treats their pet with love, providing it with care and attention, compared to someone who neglects or mistreats animals. This contrast reveals their capacity for empathy, even in situations where they hold all the power. It's not just about personal actions. It's also about how someone views the rights and well-being of creatures and ecosystems that can't advocate for themselves. A person who values the preservation of nature and the humane treatment of animals shows a depth of compassion and an understanding of their responsibility as a human being. If you're reflecting on your own actions, ask yourself, do my choices reflect care for the world around me? Do I consider the impact of my actions on animals and the environment? Cultivating a sense of stewardship enhances not just your surroundings, but your character as well. Here's a practical exercise. Observe how someone interacts with animals or their environment. Do they pause to help a stray animal in need? Do they clean up after themselves in public spaces? These small, often unnoticed actions provide a window into their values and priorities. The Stoics also emphasized gratitude for the natural world. Epictetus said, "He who is not grateful for what he has is unlikely to be grateful for what he will get." Showing respect for nature and its creatures is an extension of gratitude for life itself. Consider this example. A neighbor who plants flowers to brighten their yard not only beautifies their space, but also supports pollinators and contributes to the ecosystem. Meanwhile, someone who dumps trash in a park shows disregard for the shared spaces that benefit everyone. These contrasting behaviors illustrate their perspectives on responsibility and respect. Think of the environment and animals as silent observers of humanity. They don't demand kindness, but they thrive or suffer based on our choices. A person who treats them with care demonstrates a generosity of spirit and a respect for life that goes beyond immediate personal gain. As you assess someone's true colors, watch how they treat animals and nature. Do they act with thoughtfulness and care, or do they show indifference and disregard? Their behavior in these interactions reveals whether their compassion extends to all living things, or stops where their convenience begins. True character isn't limited to human relationships. It encompasses a broader respect for the world we share. 10. Integrity in time. How they value time and keep promises. Time is one of life's most valuable resources. How someone values their own time and the time of others reveals their level of respect, reliability, and integrity. Similarly, the way they approach commitments and promises demonstrates whether their words hold weight or are merely empty gestures. Observing these behaviors provides profound insight into someone's true character. Imagine a person who is consistently late, cancels plans at the last minute, or neglects to follow through on promises. These actions might seem minor on the surface, but they indicate a deeper disregard for the importance of others' time and trust. In contrast, someone who honors their commitments, arrives punctually, and communicates clearly shows respect for both their own life and the lives of those around them. The Stoics valued time immensely, treating it as a finite and precious resource. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This wisdom highlights the importance of using time wisely and respecting its value, both for ourselves and for others. Keeping promises is another powerful indicator of integrity. When someone makes a commitment, big or small, their ability to honor it reflects their reliability and honesty. For example, a friend who promises to help you move and shows up on time demonstrates care and accountability. On the other hand, a colleague who agrees to meet a deadline but consistently fails to deliver reveals a lack of dependability. Think about relationships in your own life. How do the people around you handle their promises? Do they follow through without needing constant reminders, or do you feel like you can't rely on them? This behavior often correlates with broader traits like trustworthiness, respect, and responsibility. Here's a relatable example. Imagine a co-worker who always shows up late to meetings. Over time, this pattern disrupts the team's flow and wastes everyone's time. While their tardiness might not seem like a major flaw, it reflects a lack of consideration for others' schedules and priorities. In contrast, a co-worker who arrives prepared and on time signals their commitment to the group's shared success. How someone values their own time also reflects their self-discipline. A person who spends their days procrastinating or aimlessly scrolling through social media may struggle to set and achieve meaningful goals. Meanwhile, someone who plans their time intentionally, balancing work, rest, and relationships, demonstrates a proactive and grounded approach to life. If you're reflecting on your own behavior, ask yourself, do I honor my commitments and use my time wisely? Am I reliable and respectful of others' time? Developing these habits not only strengthens your relationships, but also builds a reputation for integrity and dependability. To observe someone's true colors, pay attention to how they handle their promises and manage their time. Do they make excuses for being late or failing to deliver, or do they take accountability and adjust their actions? Their consistency in these areas reveals whether they value trust and respect, or take them for granted. The Stoics also remind us to align our actions with our words. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Keeping promises and valuing time isn't about perfection. It's about striving to live with intention and integrity. Here's a practical exercise. The next time someone makes a promise, observe how they follow through. Do they deliver on what they said they would do, or do they leave you feeling disappointed? Similarly, reflect on how you handle your own commitments and time. Strengthening these habits can transform both your self-discipline and your relationships. Think of time and promises as currencies of trust. Each fulfilled promise and each moment spent intentionally builds a foundation of respect and reliability. Neglecting these, on the other hand, devalues relationships and opportunities. As you assess someone's true colors, watch how they treat time, both theirs and yours, and whether they honor their commitments. Their behavior in these areas reflects their integrity, reliability, and respect for the people and opportunities in their life. True character isn't just about grand gestures. It's about consistently showing up and delivering on what matters. Understanding someone's true character isn't about analyzing their words. It's about observing their actions, especially in the small, unguarded moments. Each of the 10 signs we explored today provides a unique lens into what truly defines a person: their integrity, empathy, resilience, and respect for others. By paying attention to how someone acts when no one's watching, how they treat others, handle power, respond to criticism, or honor their commitments, you gain insight into their authenticity. These signs don't just help you understand others, they also serve as a guide for your own growth. Reflecting on these traits can inspire you to strengthen your own character and live in alignment with your values. As you move forward, remember, true colors aren't revealed in words or appearances. They're reflected in the consistency of actions. Whether it's showing kindness without expectation, facing criticism with grace, or valuing time and promises, these moments define who we are. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery and deeper connection. Let's strive to see beyond the surface, build meaningful relationships, and become the best versions of ourselves. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences or reflections in the comments. And as always, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep growing. Until next time.